Good evening, everybody. Today, I don't know if y'all know this. If you're Christian, if you go by the Ordo calendar, you'll know that today is the Annunciation, when Gabriel, the angel Gabriel, given the power by the Holy Spirit, announced to Mary that she would bear the Son of God. And this is our faith. And I'm going to back it up a little bit and tell you how this relates to Richard's case. Absolutely. Just the grace and the mercy, the unbelievable blessings, the magnitude of power that God has. Our eyes cannot see it, our ears cannot hear it, and our minds cannot even perceive it. And that's been the verse all week, and here it is, the Annunciation. And I just wanted to play Pavarotti singing Ave Maria. Ave Maria, if you don't know, is one of the, it might be but one of the oldest hymns, known hymns, Christian hymns. It is that far back. And that's because Christians were totally in awe of a virgin bearing the Son of God. And so this is our faith. It might not be your faith, but today is a special day for us Christians, and I wanted to share that with you. So, how can I back this up? I'm going to back it up just a little bit because, I think it's really important. I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm a math major in college. I've always liked math. I've always liked puzzles. My dad and I would compete with the newspaper, getting the puzzles done. we would, the crypto quote, we would compete with that. And um, so I got the love for puzzles definitely from him to try to solve them. And I think that that has helped. And, um, when the CID and the unit there, the generals told us, we need to bring them leads. And so I think that that helped. I don't know if that was right for them to say that, but I don't think it's right. I'm really Pavarotti is so beautiful, y'all. So whenever something comes up that's very mathematical, that's like a puzzle, I pay attention. I just love it. And this is a calendar um, right here that is a remarkable calendar. You can go on to Find Richard Halliday Telegram and view it. You can download it. You can absolutely uh, print it out and put it up because it never changes. This is the 15-year solar cycle. And so the sun is amazing. It's on a 15-year cycle, and it repeats itself every 15 years like a clock in the heavens. And whereas the moon gives us the months, the sun gives us this 15-year cycle. And we're not really taught about it in school at all. And so here it is. I could spend hours on this calendar, but I just wanted to make you aware of it. This is, after all, the way that we homeschooled our children was eclectic, right? It was the classic eclectic curriculum. And what does eclectic mean? It means that you briefly go over so many things in life, in the world, in history, and make your children, make your students aware that they even exist. And then you repeat it. And you repeat, let's say you're talking about the Battle of Blenheim. And that was in Bavaria. That was the battle for the Spanish succession. And Germany fought Great Britain to be the ones that would choose in Spain. And Spain was really a very powerful country at the time. They got a hand in choosing who would take over Spain, the Spanish Empire. And England won. England won. The Duke of Marlborough won. And there's a poem in McGuffey's Reader about this battle. And the Duke of Marlborough went home to England with this great victory. And they were able, Queen Anne at the time, was able to choose the secession for the Spanish Empire. And England was given Gibraltar. So if you want to know why England manages and owns, it controls Gibraltar, which is the entrance into the Mediterranean Sea from the Atlantic. It's a very, very important geographical area. And you saw Richard, because after studying this, after talking about this, we went to Gibraltar in Spain. And that's the picture of him with the monkey on his head. They're known for the monkeys and also robbed by the cannons. And so we were really fortunate to be able to homeschool like this. But England was given Gibraltar, and the Duke of Marlborough was given riches you wouldn't even believe. It made his family very, very wealthy, and a lot of land to go with it. And a palace they built on that land. The Duke of Marlborough built the palace and named it after Blenheim. But of course, in English, it would be the Palace of Blenheim. And you can, matter of fact, I probably should have put that up there. I didn't realize I was going to talk about this tonight. But you can go to the Palace of Blenheim. It is amazing, amazing. And guess who was born there? Guess who succeeded in that family? And it was Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was born with about 5 gold spoons in his mouth, y'all. Yeah, because he was a direct descendant of the Duke of Marlborough. So this is just things that you learn. Let's see if I can turn this a little bit. Things that you learn homeschooling and with the McGuffies and eclectic. So that's all we really did with that. We read the poem, and we just, in a few minutes, looked at the history of the Spanish Succession, the Battle of Blenheim in Bavaria, Germany, what that entailed, and then what was the outcome? Winston Churchill with 5 gold spoons in his mouth. And of course, the leader for England in victory in World War II. So, so that is eclectic, just a brief summary. And then if you have more information, and I'll tell you another little story. I have to do it. I'm on a roll right now, and I think I need this. That I think is very, very fascinating, because I want to talk about President Trump. Before I do that, I will finish up with this amazing calendar. I highlighted, so that's the 10th year, J. So what happens here is, as the sun runs its circuit, as the Bible tells us, it will come back in 15 years, and every one of these dates is a Saturday. Okay? Is a Saturday. So after 15 years, the Saturday of the first month will be on the 7th. The Saturday of the second Saturday of, let's just say in the second month it will be on the 5th, and the third month it would be on the 4th, and all of these numbers will repeat. If you see every third year this odd month here, that's the calendar, and I always have a problem saying that word. But we have leap year every 4 years, but these are calendar months here to add, to catch the sun up with the moon, with the seasons. Because if we didn't have these extra months every 3 years, then the seasons would get all messed up. And so that keeps us in the seasons. But it repeats this 15-year cycle every 15 years. And it is really, really amazing. And so I, being Annunciation, it's absolutely 9 months now before Christmas. And, there is, to have that kind of stability in your life, to know these kind of numbers, to know how time works, that God is the father of time. He is the creator of time, and he made it perfect, is very, very comforting. And it gives you strength, especially when you're going through hard times. And so I'm not going to talk about the AM years, but December 25th, 26, Jesus was born. Okay? We know that. We know that for many, many different reasons. And so this is eclectic. I'm just telling you, we know this. And 30 years later, so 2 solar cycles later, because every solar cycle is 15 years, Jesus returns. You have him being baptized right there, the 7th of February. We know it. Because you see, the 7-day week has never, ever been broken. We can count back in time every 7 days because the 7-day week has never been broken. And that isn't that comforting? I just think it's amazing, absolutely amazing. And on February the 9th, which is a Saturday, because this is year J. So if I look at the calendar, year J, that Saturday is a 9th. Okay. So I know exactly that I'm in the right month. I'm in the right year. I'm in the right day. I'm in the right day. February 9th is a Saturday. And February 12th, the Bible says, and on the third day, which is Tuesday, right? Jesus went to the wedding in Cana. And then we know on February 16th, because in our Anglican tradition, Christian tradition, we have certain readings that we do, just like today on the Annunciation. We have certain readings for every day, for morning prayer, for evening prayer, for Compline even. And, so we know what is being read. And with Jesus reading Isaiah 61, we knew exactly, because there's a history of what day, the February 16th, the 50th reading would be read, and that's why we know that he went into the temple. And so I'm not going to go into it further, but I will say this, that we know that the year 2023, the year that we're in right now, is the 10th year in the 15-year solar cycle. So that's year J. That's year J. And I hope that you're blessed with that when you're listening to what I'm about to talk about today, which is accountability. Accountability and retribution. Because I was listening to President Trump today talk about retribution. And it made me think about him, and the first time I listened to him when he came down that escalator. And he said the things that he said. I was like, who is this man? Who is this man? Right? Because we were in Europe, and I'm not the biggest TV watcher for all these shows and all this. And so I didn't know who he was. I don't keep track with these stars or, so I, of course, because Rob was working, but I would stay up all night, watching everything that had Trump in it speaking. His children, everything. I wanted to know this man because the election was coming. I felt like it was a very important election, like every election. And as you know, I'm not an anarchist. I'm not really a rebel. I want to participate in our system, but not in Vanity Fair. I want accountability. I want fairness. I want truth. I want things to be legitimate. I want things to be honest, with integrity, with respect. And so I wanted to hear what this man had to say. And one of the very first things that I did is I looked up his financials. And I found them today. I found them and I put them up here. And these are his 2015 financials. They could have changed by now. He's been so, going through so many changes. But this is what I looked at in 2015. And of course, shared it with Richard, shared it with everybody. And I thought it was absolutely amazing because he has his own magazine. He does his own mattresses and his menswear. And, look at all of this. It's just absolutely his own water, his beverages. And he is in so many different countries. He's in Egypt. He's in Dubai. He's in Chicago. He's in, all over the United States and Baja. So he's in Asia. He was building And of course, as many of you know, my son-in-law is South Korean, so we've been to South Korea many times. And Trump has, I think, four built, three, four, five buildings, five high rises, five towers there in Seoul, South Korea. And I'm like, well, if he can build that, because we took an old cottage in Ireland and we built it, and it was hard work, y'all. It was so hard work, and we had to do so much work ourselves because to get contractors and everything, um, in our situation, it was pretty hard. But we even used some Polish contractors. I mean, we did whatever we could to build that house, and it was hard work. So to build anything, to build this, is absolutely amazing. And I was blown away, even in Panama. I mean, just go through it. It's amazing. And one of the places that Trump has, yeah, I know. Look, ooh, I could scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, and he might have more now. Um, but it was just, look at that, look at that. It's just so amazing, and it's honest work. It really is honest work, and I'm sure that if you're working with people, you have to do deals. I'm sure he had to do a lot of deals, and I don't know if they were all honest, but after all of the scrutiny that he's been under. I mean, they've gone through his taxes. He's been through, at that time, he was through 10 years of IRS audits. They audited him, and I'm sure they audit him now. So I just was absolutely, even a vineyard, wow. Um, so I was just really impressed with that. So now I picked this. I want to paint this. I want to paint this. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I just love the colors. Um, if that doesn't make you cry when you look at it, just with beauty, just because of the beauty of it and how someone can paint that, how someone can get that gold overlay, how someone can, put that on a canvas. They must have a magnificent heart. I just, um, yeah. So here is our Book of Common Prayer, the 1928 Book of Common Prayer. That's the one that we use. The morning collect and lessons. There is an evening one too, but I just put it up there. If anybody wanted to read that today on Annunciation, the Annunciation to Mary. So here's Trump, and I'm not going to really play him uh, speaking here, but I like what is said on the bottom. And I've been listening to him lately, and because he was in Waco, Texas, just a short hop, jump, and a skip from where I grew up in Temple, Texas. I grew up in Temple, Texas, and I went to Mary Hardin Baylor. That's where I attended. Well, I went to the Temple Junior College. I don't think that exists anymore. But I went to Temple Junior College for 2 years, and um, then I went away for a semester to Seguin, Texas, to the Lutheran college there, and then I came home and went to Mary Hardin Baylor, and that's where I graduated from. So this is a hop, skip, and a jump. He was there in Waco, Texas. Oh, they have such great kolaches there. Anyway, they have great kolaches. If you're ever in Waco, go and get some kolaches because they're so good. So what he was saying here is we are laying out a bold, fast, forward-looking vision of what we will do when we take the oath of office as the 47th President of the United States. So what I like about that is that he's looking forward. He's forward thinking. He's forward looking. And, and he's making some plans. And now, are they all going to come true? Is everything going to work out? Uh, you know, Anytime we make any plans for the future, we have to be flexible because, things change, events happen. And, I thought that I would be really helping homeschoolers right now. But, of course, Richard went missing. And so we gave up that business to to find him. Um, but we have to be forward looking, right? And I like what he says, bold, fast, forward looking. So I was just here I'll play this one.
Wronged and betrayed, of which there are many people out there that have been wronged and
Yes.
betrayed. I am your
Find Richard
retribution.
Halliday,
We will
Team
take
Find
care
Richard
of it.
Halliday. So let's play that again because I interrupted.
Wronged
Sorry.
and betrayed, of which there are many people out there that have been wronged and betrayed. I am your retribution. We will take care of it. We will take care.
Yeah. So he's very bold in saying that. And if we want to know what retribution is, let's see. I brought it up. Which one is it? I'll get out of that one. It's enunciation. Retribution. It's punishment administered in return for a wrong committed. Punishment or reward distributed in a future life based on performance in this one. The act of retributing or paying back for past good or evil. Hence, that which is given in return. So I wanted to make sure that everyone knew this, that retribution, he's, mentioned that it is holding those accountable and that they need to be given a punishment. But it also is a reward. And I don't want to forget to tell people that we do have a $150,000 reward right now for anybody with information that will help us find Richard. And so I wanted to make that clear. And I told someone yesterday, I received a phone call yesterday from the notary public there in El Paso who confirmed to us that on the 22nd of July 2020 he did notarize a document for Leilani Hart, and that is groundbreaking. Okay, that is groundbreaking because we absolutely know that by the CID file, and we have the number for it, and also the FBI file, and we have the number for that, which, both of those are leaked. But we have those file numbers that were submitted to the CID and FBI there in July of 2020. And Leilani Hart had them notarized, y'all. She had them notarized. And what is that telling us? That's telling us that she wanted it to be used as an affidavit. She wanted it to be used as truth. Okay? And I was told, even in my discussion with James Hart, that there was reports to the CID by his wife that alleged that he was involved with children in not a good way, y'all. In not a good way. And he told me that he had been cleared of that allegation. And now I find out that Leilani Hart had those allegations notarized. That's a big deal because the FBI never mentioned anything to us. And why would they? Why would they mention anything like that to us? Because Leilani Hart was getting leaked files from special agent in the CID right there on Fort Bliss, CID special agent Tavita Nusa. Where was Tavita Nusa on the day that Richard went missing? Right? Why hasn't he called? Why hasn't he sent a letter? Why hasn't he? These are serious charges, serious allegations. And I'm going to tell you, Leilani Hart, as far as this go, looks more reliable than Dallas Hart or James Hart. Because, well, even though I was told that she was causing a lot of trouble, okay, I was told she was causing a lot of trouble. Well, people have said that about me. I'm causing a lot of trouble. People have said that about Richard. Remember, Captain Park said that about Richard. He's causing me a lot of trouble because Richard would not stand for the child sex trafficking. He would not stand for child sex pornography to be distributed, to be made and marketed, and then also broadcasted. You know, he would not stand for that. And so, you know, we need to get to the bottom of what does it mean that Leilani Hart was causing trouble. Did she have enough? And was Tavita Nusa causing that trouble too with Leilani Hart? And, you know, where is the CID and the FBI's response? Where is the retribution? Where is the accountability because even, let's say that Leilani Hart's notarized affidavit, okay, you can use that as an affidavit, allegation about her family being involved in not good things, y'all. Not good things when it comes to children. And we're even hearing and that service members' children were involved in this. So, y'all, these are serious allegations. And let's see that the CID investigated. I don't respect the CID's type of investigation. Okay? So that, I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that. At this time, I feel that the CID is so problematic. There are so many failures. Everything is a failure. Everyone that I've talked to, it's been a failure. And things that really, really matter, just like this soldier now at Fort Hood. But anyway, so I don't give them a lot of I guess weight. I don't give them a lot. I don't think that they do their job very well, because look at how they have handled Find Richard Halliday. Look at what they've done to us. They've put us in danger. They told us to go and get leads, to bring them leads. You know, we had to do the investigation. For the love of our son, we did it. And I think that's criminal. Matter of fact, I think it is criminal. I think they should be in big trouble. I think that the law enforcement agencies should absolutely give us some security right now because of what we have uncovered. Because it has to do with absolutely the CID, this FBI report, with the notarized allegations. I mean, these are notarized And we confirmed that yesterday. So it was, um, it's like bittersweet. It's a good day, but then that brings up the subject. If these reports were turned in the day before Richard went missing, okay, so the 22nd of July 2020, they were notarized. If they were turned in, then to the FBI and the CID, they knew about this, y'all. And they absolutely knew, because I was told, and you can, if you know more information, you can please call 941-677-0060 and let us know. But I'm walking on a very fine line here, because those files that were leaked, because it wasn't just Richard's file, had information in there that we were told, and now please, Leilani Hart, reach out to us, that information is what was used against, it's still your husband, James Hart, and others in your family in this CID and FBI report. That means there's a huge chance, and I'm not crazy, I'm not absurd, I'm not being absurd, to ask this question: when did Tavita Nusa lose his badge? Because we believe, and this is another very big reason why we believe it was before Richard went missing. So Richard was making the Child Protective Service complaints. He made an initial complaint, we are told, to his command, and they buried it. They didn't do anything about it. So he went over and above and outside the chain of command. That doesn't make the chain of command too happy to make the Child Protective Service complaints. And he turned in videos, sex videos, for evidence. Now, that means he did all of that. Happened early on. We know that. I've even told you that I think it happened in 2019. Okay, because of what happened in January of 2020. So, and what happened in February, and what happened in March, and what happened in April and May and June. We have our calendar totally full, and it is about the retribution that Richard got. But it was retaliation, and it was unjust. It was unjust because these leaders, they like to hold everybody else accountable, and they like to delve out the retribution freely and the retaliation freely. But they themselves do not like to be held accountable. There's a big cover-up. They have people that they know in select offices that can help them. Like Leilani Hart had a very, very close relationship with Tavita Nusa, CID special agent right there at Fort Bliss, willing to leak files to her, and Richard being one of them, and those files being used to create complaints to the CID, to the FBI, and then even have them notarized. Okay. To what did they do about it? And so this explains everything what happened to Richard, except for where Richard is. But we've established a motive now, and that's very, very important, because I don't see Dallas Hart's travel voucher being notarized. Even, where are the witnesses? Where are the witnesses? Where are the generals that can absolutely testify, like this notary public told me he's willing to absolutely tell what he knows about his notary, what happened that day. And I'm very grateful for that. So where is the generals? Where are the others that know officially that Dallas Hart has some kind of alibi? And does the alibi, is it really an alibi? If you are in charge of a gang or in charge of, have some power, have people there in El Paso, and he did, absolutely. He went to high school there. His parents are very established there. They are definitely connected to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, very close group, very powerful group in that area. And so he had his football team, he had his other friends that he could ask them to take care of the problem being Richard Halliday. So that needs to definitely be investigated. This is not a cold case. This is so hot, it's not even funny. And it's thank God for Pavarotti today, right? So, and the people that we really need are our officials, like the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz. We need to know his face. We need to know who he is, what he does, because we need the FBI. I have all these things written down here of names, and let's see if I've got them all straight, because where have they been? I should know them by their first name right now. I should not even have to rely on my memory or have to look at a paper. They should be involved in this case, you see, and they're not. And Richard is a federal employee. More than that, he is a volunteer son of our republic, that he would give his life for his country. He would go fight in wars. He would go and obey orders. And he was the Distinguished Honor Graduate for basic training and AIT for his cycle. He was a guidon bearer. I should bring up those pictures. But I want to bring up the picture of this man, the Inspector General, who is supposed to be in charge of ethics, right? Ethics, morals, retribution, accountability. That's who needs to be involved. We submitted different information, so we'll see. I did a couple of those. We need to know who this man is, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland. He's so busy with a lot of very shallow things against Trump. And where is he when it comes to a missing soldier from a federal ran military installation that is right there in El Paso on the border with Mexico? And we have the FBI informant, who we believe is an FBI informant, father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado of the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, saying that he's with the FBI and that the FBI have been looking for Richard in Juarez, Mexico, and they found him. And what were they looking for? Richard's remains. Not for a live Richard, but for Richard's remains. And that they found him. It's not good news. He's dead. Shh, shh. And we have him on video. We have him on video doing that, and I need to play that too. I could be on here for hours and hours and hours every night with all of the leads that they already had. Do you understand? They already, the CID and the FBI and that command, at least that command, they already had all these leads that it has taken us 975 days to find out. Because they told us to do it. I don't think that they truly meant for us to do it. I don't know. And then let's see here. This one I wanted to put up. I found it. I wanted to show you last night. But this is the offices of the Western District of Texas. And I will definitely put up, let's see. There's so much. Okay. I'll put up who the attorney USA is for the Western District of Texas after this. But who falls under Jaime Esparza? Okay, who falls under him? Jose Luis Gonzalez, Greg McDonald. We wrote him. We wrote all of them. So we haven't heard back. There's no acknowledgement. I don't know. I don't think they care about missing soldiers. I really don't. It is just shocking that we can't even get an acknowledgement back from Representative Veronica Escobar. You know, it's shocking. So there's, and this is the general crime section. So Jose Luis Gonzalez, Greg McDonald, Ian, or I hope I'm saying it right, Ian Martinez Hanna. Then in the narcotics section, it's Stephen Spitzer, Michael Williams, and then, of course, so we wrote all of them, chief of drugs, because this, if this is about child sex trafficking, if this is about human trafficking, which it is, it's all about child sex trafficking and child sex abuse and child pornography. Okay, the making of it, the marketing of it, the distribution of it. You know, where they can very easily just drop it down from the cloud onto anybody's phone. And so if this is about this, it's also about drugs. I'm just going to tell you. Because if it's about the border, it's about drugs. There's, you know, if you're going to risk trafficking children, it's not a step further to also traffic drugs. And it's not a step further to traffic weapons or other gear that you would use in a gang or a rogue military or whatever. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. I wonder if you saw that. I might have done that wrong. But this is who they are here. And we wrote that, and it's very important. So I hope I did that right. I am not a professional on these podcasts. So what I was saying is that one crime leads to the next, leads to the next, leads to the next, and it just really blows up. And then if we have no accountability from, let me see if I can get his picture in here now. Right here. Jaime Esparza. And this is important too because he was there in El Paso at a state level taking care of subpoenas and warrants for Richard's case. And then Senator Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz, approved him for the becoming the federal attorney for the Western District of Texas for the United States. And, you know, did he discuss Richard's case? Did he discuss that? So let's go to what I wrote. Senator Cruz. So, as a lot of you know, a few days ago, we sent out a letter to many people, and leaders, and we're waiting for a response. We received one response back, one acknowledgement back, and that was yesterday, or was it yesterday? No, day before yesterday evening, so that's Friday, Thursday evening, from Senator Cruz, from his office, from his team. And we really, really appreciate that. Okay, he's putting himself out there. I think that he has been left defenseless. I don't think that he has the power like a senator should have, because he was flipped off by the Secretary of the Army, Christine Wormuth. She flipped him off, and he had no recourse. And she's 23 ranks lower than he is. So she is his subordinate. Okay? Very clear. She is his subordinate, but yet she flipped him off, and he couldn't do anything. So what is going on? What is our system saying to us? That we don't have our hierarchy of government anymore? That there's no respect in the hierarchy of government in our votes? Because you see, Christine Wormuth, she's not voted in. She's not elected. She didn't have to go through the election process, but Senator Cruz did. He did, and it's hard won. He barely won by the hair of his chinny chin chin for that Senate seat. So what's going on here? That his position is not respected. Okay? So this response sounds, I don't know, it is like a little tongue lashing, but I want to say that at least he acknowledged Team Find Richard Halliday and the CID, FBI numbers, file numbers that were leaked. And, you know, I clearly let him know that they were notarized. Okay? And that's not all. I don't want to forget to tell you that there is a long history, and I wrote it down. A long history starting in the 1990s of child sex abuse allegations in the Hart family. Starting in the 1990s and in 2006 and in 2015 and in 2019. And then, of course, maybe that's why Leilani Hart had to have them. I don't know if she was covering for herself, because she hasn't contacted me, and I think that that is suspicious. Why hasn't she contacted me? I would be a voice for the children. I would be a voice for the abuse that she has had to undergo. But that call has not come. And I'm just wondering what is going on. So is Dallas Hart telling the truth? Is um, James Hart telling the truth? Is she just crazy? Is she just crazy enough to get these kinds of criminal allegations notarized? And then who does she know in high places that there is no accountability to make such false allegations and not get in trouble? I don't even think she's had to pay a fine. So this is an arrestable offense. And there's more to it. There's more to it. So where is the accountability against Leilani Hart, and where was Tavita Nusa when Richard disappeared? And we know that he lost his badge. But is that it? Is that it? You're talking about, if these are false allegations, you're talking about destroying a young man, young men, and their father. Where is the accountability for that? So, and maybe they don't want it. Maybe they don't want, but what they want and what is right are two different things. My Oma used to always tell me that. What you want and what needs to be done are two different things. And where is our law enforcement because many times retribution, accountability is, has so many different benefits to it, because it promotes, it tells the public what is not acceptable or what they will reward. And are they rewarding child sex trafficking? Are they rewarding trafficking drugs, or trafficking any kind of weapon and ammunition? Something stinks to high heaven here. And so I want to read what I wrote to Senator Ted Cruz with my husband and I. We always put a lot of thought into this, and we make it public so that people can know what's going on and give us their wisdom. Answer our questions, because we have no other recourse. CID is not answering our questions. FBI is not answering our questions. The law enforcement agencies are not answering our questions. The DOJ is not answering our questions. Representative Veronica Escobar is not answering our questions. They're not helping. And Senator Cruz wrote back, and he said that, he still is pressing the CID and the chain of command for answers. Okay, he's still pressing them, but he's waiting for the CID. Okay, and, that concerned us. So we had to write him back. And this is what we said. Dear Senator Cruz, thank you for the acknowledgement. It has been 975 days since U.S. Army Distinguished Honor Graduate Richard Halliday vanished from his barracks room on Fort Bliss, y'all, El Paso, Texas, under the command of Major General, now retired, Clem Coward. Team Find Richard Halliday fails to understand. We just can't wrap our heads around this. Why a senator is awaiting answers from a subordinate organization, the CID, within the U.S. Army. CID won't send anything to a senator without going through the chain of command. CID needs to first present its findings to their leadership so that the U.S. Army can disseminate, confirm, and validate the findings as the official position of the U.S. Army on the first CONUS Dest 1 missing soldier, Richard Halliday. Why are you a sitting elected senator not pressing the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of the Army, the FBI, or better yet, at this point, the Attorney General Merrick Garland and Inspector General Michael E. Horowitz for answers. Fort Bliss leadership and CID are fraught with failures, are very secretive, and are problematic. Team Find Richard Halliday has asked and told numerous times, to bring them the leads to find Richard. Getting leads is not our job, but for the love of our son, we want to find him. We discovered that the CID had all the leads from the beginning, even with the many years of history of allegations, complaints, and reports in the James and Leilani Hart family. The July 22nd, 2020 complaint with serious allegations to the CID and FBI, whose file numbers were leaked, was also notarized. This happened a day before Richard went missing. The CID and FBI knew. They knew. When you approved Jaime Esparza as United States Attorney, who worked on this case, y'all, he worked on this case, for the Western District of Texas, did you discuss Richard Halliday's case? Because you see, did he also know? And I should have put that in there. My husband probably. Did he also know about everything with Richard? It seems like our law enforcement know everything. And that's why it's shh, shh. Remember the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM who says he's with the FBI? Says, and we think he's an FBI informant, says the FBI found Richard's remains in Juarez, Mexico. Shh. He's dead. Shh. Who, they found him. Shh. He's dead. Shh. Why is it a secret? Why are the leaks of files, including Richard's, a secret? Because they did not tell us. They did not tell us, the CID, the FBI, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe did not tell us that Richard made Child Protective Service complaints, that the IG were all over the barracks because of Halliday, that he turned in sex videos. They did not tell us. They did not tell us that Tavita Nusa leaked Richard's file to Leilani Hart. They did not tell us that. They did not tell us that there are continuous complaints back to the 1990s of this family that the files were leaked to. Leilani Hart, James Hart, Dallas Hart, and more. They did not tell us that there are child sex video complaints and just a host of things. A host of very vile, vulgar crimes. They did not tell us this. We had to find it all out. We had to find out and talk to the notary that these file numbers that were given to us of these complaints in July 2020. That's why we know that the 22nd of July 2020 is when those complaints were made, because they were notarized. We've confirmed that. We have a witness. Where are the phone calls? Where are the letters? Where is the investigation? We need this investigation is done. It's cooked. It's so fraudulent. It's a soup sandwich. It's a mess. It has become criminal in itself. We need a new investigation. And I hope that Merrick Garland gets his act together, puts his head on straight. I hope that Representative Veronica Escobar gets her act together, puts her head on straight. I hope that Michael Horowitz gets his head together, get it on straight, and find this missing soldier. Because I think it would only take them less than a day to do it. They knew, y'all. All of those hours that we spent talking to them, meeting with them, searching and searching and searching and rallying and rallying and rallying and searching and raising monies to do that. They knew. They knew all of this. And they have put us deliberately in the limelight, deliberately in harm's way. We've had death threats. We've had months of being bullied, harassed, the most vicious, vile, vulgar, and we've turned that in. We those numbers. We turned those threats in. And we've heard cries. Where is our security? Because there was no security on Fort Bliss. No security in our country. No security for Richard in his barracks. No security for his family that were put in harm's way. Him in harm's way. They put my son, our son, because you understand, when you become a soldier, when you become a service member, you are the son and daughter of the United States of America. The United States of America has invested interest in you. Where is the security for our most valuable assets? Where are they? Where is it? We have failed sexual harassment, failed rapes. We have our barracks as almost like a grave, right? I mean, can we talk about Caleb Smither? Can we talk about him? Left in his barracks room until the 5th stage of decomposition. Where is his security? The military, the attorney general, the inspector general, all of these leaders that never, they get the security. They go to their buildings that are secured. You need a pat down for them. They get all the security. But where is the security for our service members? Where are the ethics? Where is the moral accountability? Where is the criminal accountability? Because Richard went missing. All this happened. This mess. Where was Major General Clem Coward in all of this? Where was he? Where is he now? Where has he been in 975 days? Crickets. No, we get to be put in harm's way. And I'm telling you, it's so criminal because we had to put up the cameras. We had to make sure that we were armed. We had to make sure that our neighbors know. And you know what? Not one of them complained. Not one of them complained because we all want justice. We all want accountability. We all want retribution. And that's why President Trump is just, he has his finger on the pulse. He understands. And I'm not saying I don't have disagreements. He is an individual. I'm an individual. He might have disagreements with me, but he has his finger on the pulse. And he says, I'm your retribution. I am going to get this done. Because we all know that the leadership today, this elite political class, they all call for accountability for everybody else but for themselves. For them, they're allowed security, but they want to put everyone else in harm's way, like Senator Graham. We need to put them in Iran, put them in Iraq, put them in Afghanistan, put them in Syria, put them everywhere. Let them get shot up, whatever. We don't need to give them any security. We don't need to even get them out of Afghanistan properly. We don't even need to fight for their lives at the end with our sniper. We can just let them be killed. Same thing with Libya. Same thing. So I have a memory, because I was on my knees praying. Because the likes of Senator Graham, the likes of our elite political class that likes to put everybody else in harm's way, but they get the security. That makes a mess out of beautiful installations like Fort Bliss, like Fort Hood. Right now, there's not one nice word about Fort Hood. There's not one nice word about Fort Bragg. Why? Because they have made them places of crime. They have turned them into a Vanity Fair. The island, what was it in Pinocchio? The island of the donkeys, right? Just mischief. And where there is that kind of crime, that kind of mischief, you have a lot of dead sons and daughters. Not only dead physically, but dead mentally. We have a huge mental illness problem because of the failure of our leadership, which includes, because I've been told I shouldn't say this, but our 44 four-star generals who could easily click heels together. I've seen it in action. They could easily click heels together and clean up these installations and secure them and bring back esprit de corps and bring back the Medal of Honor ethos. But they're too busy servicing foreign and domestic enemies instead of defending our Constitution, the land, and the people. Because we have it all here in this Find Richard Halliday case. So I want to end, and then I'll take questions. But I do want to end with, I think it's on a different, let's see if I find it first. I wanted to end on something that it really hit me. It's on my McGuffies. Because education, this whole attack on Twitter is, I just think, why not focus on our schools? Why not focus on higher education, getting it? I just think it needs to all fall apart, and people need to decide where they need to send their children, how they need to educate their children. Because right now, we don't have the most marvelous, the potentiality that could be there. And education that's me. That's my calling in life, is education. So I wanted to talk about something that really hit me in 2019. 20. 2020 election, the 2020 election. During that whole time, it's like a little foggy to me. But I wanted to say that they were taking down, and this is how my dad, the start of my dad getting sick, because my parents lived in Portsmouth, Virginia, which is very, very historical. And they wanted to take down a statue. And so the men there said, no, this is our history. And I don't know if you remember, but when they took down the statue, the head fell on somebody's head and killed that person. Okay? Because these statues are big and they're heavy. And a person was killed because of their nonsense. And really bad education. And one of the points that I had to make sure I told everybody at the time was about Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee's statues were being taken down. They're still, they're under attack all over. His image is attacked all over. Wrongfully. He went to school in New York. They offered him a job up there. But he was a Virginian. And he was true to his home, Virginia. If you read his writings, you will understand that. And it goes back to this defector. This defector that everybody's mad because John McIntyre went to Ukraine, spent a year there with the Ukrainian army, and then defected to Russia. And he was trained at Fort Bliss. And here he is, a traitor to the country. People are calling. And, I totally agree with that. He needs to stay home and fight for home, like Robert E. Lee did. I'm not saying things are all good and the way he likes it. This McIntyre defector. But stay home and fight for his country. And that's what Robert E. Lee did. So he fought for Virginia because at that time, states' rights, very, very important because, you could even argue that the war was about states' rights. And Virginia was his country. It was these United States. And he really, he made a good statement. I wonder if I even have it here. I think I do. Yeah. So here he says, this is a great quote from Robert E. Lee. Sorry, I can't read this really good. The consolidation of the states into one vast empire, sure to be aggressive abroad and despotic at home, will be the certain precursor of ruin which has overwhelmed all that preceded it. Robert E. Lee. So, yeah, you can read that better, but he is saying there, if the United States of America is destroyed by putting them into one federal government, a vast empire, then we are going to be aggressive abroad and despotic at home. Boy, he knew what was going on. And a certain precursor of ruin which has overwhelmed all that preceded it. And yeah, so that is a very telling quote. So I did, of course, McGuffey's, and one of the lessons in McGuffey's is called The Eulogy for Washington. And the eulogy was written by Robert E. Lee's father, Henry Lee. And it was very interesting. So we did like a little study on who Robert E. Lee was and is, his legacy, his father, who great legacy also. And what you find is that Robert E. Lee is the bluest blood ever in the history of the United States. He comes from, he is, I believe, 13th or 17th in line. Let's see, that's my grandson. Let's see if I can find it. There's Henry Lee right there. But there was a video. So this is our homeschool site, McGuffey's Online Tutor. And you can go there. I'll just briefly cover it because it's really important. This is a quote that Robert E. Lee of Virginia was 17th in direct descent from Robert Bruce of Scotland. So Robert the Bruce, the Spider-Man. I don't know if you know that, but he's the original Spider-Man. Be a spider. Never give up. Never give up. Be like a spider. And in his clothing, in his kilt, inside the kilt is always a spider, a embroidered spider. I don't know if you know that, but he was really Robert the Bruce. Amazing story there. Amazing history. Is the first Spider-Man. But Robert the Bruce of Scotland, and moreover, not only is Robert E. Lee the direct descendant of Robert the Bruce, and I'm going to connect this, but the 5 heroes who particularly distinguished themselves on that glorious field in Bannockburn, driving back the invaders of their beloved country. Lee, through the same channel, was the direct descendant of 4, namely King Robert, Thomas Randolph, Earl of Moray, Walter the High Steward, and Sir Robert de Keith, the great Marshal of Scotland. So read about this. This is just a little tip about this. And why am I saying this? Because one of the properties that President Trump owns is called Turnberry, and it's in Scotland. And Turnberry is believed to be the place where Robert the Bruce was born. And Robert the Bruce is the great defender of freedom, as was, and I don't care what anyone says, you know me, I don't rub shoulders just to get away with it. I read the material and then I tell you the truth. Robert E. Lee, great defender of freedom for these United States, and for slaves, because he was very close to George Washington. And if you read George Washington put together Washington, D.C. to end slavery. And George Washington is the only one that freed his slaves, so that, and was preparing a city where they could go and live and work and raise a family. That was Washington, D.C. He wanted it to be an industrial city. He did not want it to be like a Versailles, a memorial city. And, if you read, that's just another little tidbit. But so we don't have the schools that are teaching this awesome history that would bring back esprit de corps in our populace and also in our military, because these are great generals, awesome generals. George Washington and Robert E. Lee were awesome generals, and of course Henry Lee too. So we need to think about where our future is, our bold, fast vision for the future, what we want it to be. And we need retribution, and we need accountability. And I just want you to think about this one little thing, that Turnberry is the birthplace of Robert the Bruce. And I think that people in the elite political class that know this history that we don't know. The normal person does not know this. I did not know this, but I did McGuffey's, and here we are. I did not learn it in public school or in my university years, but the elite class do know it. And I think the destruction of Robert E. Lee's statues was a symbol, was a loud message to us as the people of the United States, but of course to those that were working to reelect Trump and to Trump himself. That's my interpretation at the time. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're taking down Robert E. Lee to send a message to Trump. And because there was no other reason to do it, these statues. And Robert E. Lee's was really the prime one to do. So think about that. Think about that there are other things going on besides what we know. Because our eyes cannot see, our ears cannot hear, our minds cannot perceive the absolute wonders and glories and grace that God has in store for those who love him. And that's keeping me going right now, because we have everything except for the Department of Justice, except for accountability, except for retribution. Retribution. I was going to say restitution, which is a whole nother discussion, but retribution. And I want to thank all the people that have helped us so much, such smart people that have helped, because we really don't know how to get through all of this and be targeted, be put in harm's way, be threatened, be bullied, be harassed, be lied to. The CID, the FBI, our own CAO, who was our liaison, I would say Lieutenant General Bernabe, Lieutenant General Donna Martin, General McConville. They are so evil. They lied to us, y'all. They put us in harm's way and gave us no security. They never invited us to come to El Paso. We had to do everything. And so knowing all what we know today, think about it. Rewatch this live stream and think about accountability, retribution. And today I really saw that Trump has his finger on the pulse in that respect. Do I think he's part of it? I don't know. I don't know. We've had absolutely infiltrators in Find Richard Halliday. I am sure I know who are the FBI informants that were in here. I know we've been infiltrated, and that you know why. It's such a big case. So I don't know who to believe. I can't say I know everybody, but I have my suspicions, and it's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking. So please share this. I know they're long, but please share it. It's super important. Break it up if you need to, and pray for us. And thank you. And I should answer questions. I forgot to. Sorry. Let me go to do that. Okay. watching comments. Thank you. Karen Marie Wade Johnson, thank you. So beautiful. My mom's favorite song. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody. Praying for you, Mrs. Halliday. Praying for justice and answers. Thank you, Anicia. Thank you so much. All right, well, everyone, we have an hour left of the Annunciation. Realize that, yeah, we had a good day, and we're going to move forward. And I'll be back tomorrow, God willing. And thank you so much. The bell tolls 11 o'clock. Okay, thank you. Good night.